was out of
Then, the question you asked then,
and it was out of character because I asked you a serious question.
ask a serious question, I'll deal with that.
During my favorite episode of the first year, you found out that your father had died.
Yeah, I found out what?
You found out your father had passed away.
My father, yes.
Yes, and the story goes that you insisted on filming
Yes.
during that day.
Yes.
And I asked you, because I had recently acted in a couple of places in high school, how you got through that day.
Wow.
And you gave a very moving, eloquent answer
Ooh,
to that question.
remember.
And it stayed with me ever since. Well, I went to film school a few years later, but I had to drop out because I ran out of money.
Wow, this is an involved question.
It is, but it's very, very expensive. When you reinvent yourself and your ability to be able to just go to the next thing and be so successful at it has always been an inspiration to me.
Wow.
So when I was given my second chance, I grabbed it with both hands. So last year, I completed my film training after 20 years.
Fantastic, man.
And when it came time to do my personal film, I based it on our encounter.
Our what?
Our encounter back in
Oh, really?
1990.
24 years ago?
Yeah. So I based it on that. This is Karen, and she is one of the actresses in the movie.
This is the longest break. And Karen is doing a thing for the premiere. No, you're doing a little advertising. This is called W&C Pictures, W&C. We and Karen.
Wallace and Carpenter.
Wallace. And it's called The Wardens.
Yes.
And it's starring Sean McDonald, Heather Bennett, Stephen Lee, and other people.
But that's not the end.
I shall cherish it.
But this is not the end of the story.
Oh my God. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah, you better. I have been trying to get a copy of that to you for 8 months because I have been wanting Mr. Blessing or to know the fact that you aren't.
Bless you, my boy.
That was 8 months ago.
That was 8 months, but now we got to release.
Now there's a feature-length script that's kicking around in New York and in LA, and I wondered if you would accept it.
No, I can't. If that's your question, I can't accept it because if I were to read it and then something I do 25 years from now has any reminiscence of your script, you'd sue me for plagiarism. Whereas if I don't read it and somebody else reads it like an agent, then I am not suable. So there is a rule that you can't accept an unsolicited script. Especially at a convention.
May I send it to you, Ray?
Yes.
Then I would like to do that.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
That's great. I'm looking forward on your project. And that's very ambitious. Getting the film done, getting anything sold or made in Hollywood is very, very difficult. Right at this moment, for example, two things are happening. I'm editing a documentary called Wacky Doodle. Wacky Doodle is the story of the next generation, the first 2 years of the next generation. I mean, you wouldn't believe what went on for 2 years in the making of the next generation. And they were about to stop every time they made a film. There were edicts coming down like, this is now, mankind has been perfected, and there is no animosity, there's no contention between people, and especially in our crew. There's no animosity, there's no jealousy, there's no emotion. Man has been perfected. So the writers all said, well, how do we make it wrong? And they said, okay, that's your problem. So one of the writers he said to me on camera, you won't believe it! It was Wacky Doodle! And I thought, what a great name for a documentary on the next generation that we call Wacky Doodle. And we have all kinds of people saying, this is what happened. For example, here's something nobody knows. I mean, nobody, the people who work on the film, and nobody outside the film knows this, I'm going to tell you. Even the guy who it's about doesn't know, because I haven't told him. The head of the studio. So, you've heard the name Rick Berman mentioned. So Rick Berman goes to the head of the studio and says, Patrick Stewart won't say some of the dialogue because he doesn't think it fits it. Remember the phone calls people were making last night that they were talking about? They call up and I can't do Patrick Stewart like Brett Spiner. You know, and I say, I don't like this dialogue. I mean, I didn't change it. So Rick Berman called the head of the studio. The head of the studio said, who's a former Marine, said, I'll have him. Tell Patrick Stewart the head of the studio wants to have lunch with him on June the 5th at 2:30. So Patrick goes to get lunch at the commissary at 2:30. And the head of the studio doesn't turn up. He's waiting out with an assistant. We're going to wait 15 minutes. Keep him waiting. And then you go there and tell him the head of the studio can't make it. We're just like insulting. That's what happened. Patrick said, I said, I'm Patrick Stewart. You mean he's not coming? No, he can't. Oh. And he went back to his business. He didn't know that he was being set up because this happened again and again because they were punishing him for questioning the dialogue. Patrick doesn't know this. I get to tell him. If you mention a word, I will be so upset. So this is part of a wacky doodle, the story of the next generation. It should be better. But the subject is getting something made. Getting it sold. This gentleman was having a problem getting this film made. So it is. We've got right now, I've got a company trying to interest broadcast company in something called Fan Addicts, which will be about what the heck are you doing? Why are you here to this convention or another convention? A health convention, name a convention. Why are they going? Why MMA? Why are they going? MMA? Why are they going? And who are they? And why are they there? Called Fanatics. The story of conventions. I'm trying to sell it right now. As we speak, there is what we call a sizzle reel. People are watching saying, okay, Shatner hosts this thing. For example, I did a documentary called Get a Life, where I examined what people are doing in the Star Trek event. What are you doing here? Why are you dressed up? Why are you looking for audience? Why are you getting pictures? I found out. Well, it's a mystery to everybody. When the people in Star Trek are interviewed, the interviewer says, what's the answer to the longevity of Star Trek? Why is Star Trek still around? And making new movies? Why? Well, when I wrote a book, which I called Get a Life, I interviewed people, and they said, we're here because we meet our friends. We see people we know. We've spent years looking and talking and landing each other, so we're at the convention to see each other. Oh, okay. I mean, there was a kid, for example, who was psychopathically shy, except when he had his cat dressed up as a cat. It was like a ventriloquist. He had his cat, and he was the life of the party. He put his cat aside, he couldn't talk. I interviewed a lady who had multiple personalities. All of them started. It was a wonderful thing. So there are endless variety of people who come to the conventions, and I thought it was they came to see each other. I discovered in the making of the documentary it's far deeper than that. That's the reason why we're here. Because this is a mythology. Mythology. Human beings are hardwired to want an explanation of the world around us. When the Greeks found these large bones in the ground, they couldn't explain them except they made up a mythology. There was a race of giants that lived beyond the Olympus mountains with gods. And these giants fought the gods. They made up a whole history because they found what we presume to be the prehistoric bones of dinosaurs. Hardwired to make sense of the world around us. We have no mythology now, except religion. And so, Star Trek and science fiction has filled in a niche where we love to think about space travel, aliens, heroes, and all this wonderful stuff that is part of our story. We're here as part of the ritual. Wearing the costumes, getting the signature, part of the ritual. It is the most beautiful of explanations, and that's in this documentary called Get Away.